Bishop says, what is the theory of donking on the flop? Freddie says, me strong, me donk. That is a theory. No, so that's a good board to donk on typically because it's the bottom end. We have lots of straights there. We have more straights than our opponents. Typically, you want to donk on boards where you have a slight, or they are favourable boards for the out of position player. So in a button versus big blinds, a min raise, call, let's say 7-6-5 rainbow will be one of the most heavily donked boards, if not the most heavily, maybe 6-5-4. Because we have all the defend all the straights, 7-8, 2 pair, stuff like that, whereas button doesn't raise any of them. In heads up limp pot, it'll be like low paired boards, so like 2s and 3s, where like they fold. So like here, for example, we'd fold 7-2 off, 6-2 off, 5-2 off, 4-2 off, and therefore if the board comes 2-2, lots more trips in our opponent's range, and they get to donk. Kind of get to is a whatever word. And it's just a donk it's just like a deny some equity / get some value. Like it is what it is. You can donk with a mixed range, so you can donk with some strong hands, and then you can also donk with some weak hands. And you don't have to, but it can be a helpful addition to your arsenal in certain situations. And so I hope that helped answer your question. Who asked that, by the way? I've lost who asked that. Let's limit this first. Raffles says, what is the biggest spin you have played for? And Freddie, thank you very much, Freddie, says biggest spins. A 6k at the 30s, a 10k at the 100s, a 12.5k at the 500s. I need to update that because there was also a 30k at the 250s, which was also lost. But thank you, Freddie. So but that's actually a lie. There's a 30k at the 250s. But yeah. The $1 million spin is very soon. Just to confirm that, guys. Very soon, yeah. Predator says, Tommo, what happens as big blind heads up response when in position overstabs mono boards? If you know about that, would small blind actually start check raising with reasonable frequency on these boards? Yes, it would. We may do a future session on heads up monotone boards from the big blind. It is one of the things to look for. Another example of where you see monotone boards specifically having some interesting effects would be like isopots as well. Those are really interesting on particular monotone boards. Ace-high monotone boards. I'll do a little cough there to disguise it. But yeah, you'll see some really interesting results on those kind of boards as well. I can see already coffee, croissants and Tommo on Twitch at a brisk early morning hour of 11 AM. Living the dream. I'll be honest, so during my holiday, originally it was going to be scheduled for a Let's Get Healthy holiday. I did eat 2 croissants a day for 3 weeks. And weighed myself at the end of the holiday. Oh, he's put on 3/4 of a stone. He's put on 4.5, 5 kilos. If anyone doesn't know what a stone is. Quite a big amount of croissant weight, which I now have to stop eating croissants. The croissant diet is apparently it's not been recommended as a, get healthy diet. I don't know. Who would have thought? This guy limped a button. He might be genius, by the way. I have no idea. I just gave him the stereotype of possible non-spin professional. But I do like it. But yeah, like I would consider myself a medium F1 fan. Freddie says, Fish is actually more GTO than Rex. This was confirmed in today's coaching session. Me and Wabs did confirm that. So I have no idea what this guy's flatted. It's really hard to say for sure. Typically it's going to be Broadway-ish. I don't think we need to bet the turn here. It's kind of hard to get value from worse, lots of streets. So I think we just check and now at least we get a value from a Jack X, hand like Jack Queen, Jack 10. When he checks here fairly comfortably with the best hand, I think he probably bets an ace. So basically just a question of how much will he call a Jack with. I guess 87. I'm going to go just under half and see if that's a Jack X calling hand. It's a pretty quick Jack X calling hand, I assume. Jack Queen. Okay. So yeah, that is a great show. I'm trying to get Der Frau, my partner, into the American office, and I'm subtly, when she walks in, I've sort of strategically placing good episodes for her to watch. Because I feel like she has to warm up to it and then she'll watch the less exciting ones. but I've yet to show her dinner. I'm saving that when she kind of knows the characters a bit, and then we're going to sit her down and watch that. Freddy, the augmentation scene. It's great. Just the eyes. The eyes are great. Where he's like, and he just like commits to it. You know, he's like, whatever. The dinner episode of The Office is so hard to watch in one sitting when you first see it. After you see, you just can't look away from it anymore. It's just brilliant. You know, it's the $200 plasma TV. Good luck paying me back on your $0 per hour salary, babe. Alright, so Poker Roco, we know paid off the Jack-X pretty enthusiastically. Goes for a bet in this flop. I think just calling. Could check raise a course, but we'll start with a check call. Goes check. I guess we have a pretty clear value bet given lots of perceived misbluffs. I'm actually going to go pot here because I think maybe just under pot. I reckon 158. And just see if a 10 snaps. Okay. The red ones go faster. Says, yo, I have a super noob question for you, my man. Please ask away. No noob questions here. We're all had noob questions at one point. We're going to go for a jam here. Slightly wide, but maybe this guy's slightly under calls. Not good to run into jacks, of course. 4 bet bluffs as I live and breathe. Thank you so much for the sub. 11 months. What a lovely subber. Let me answer the noob question, which isn't a noob question. How to turn out into percentages? Do I really just times it by 4.4? It seems wrong. So I would say yeah, like, so the outs is just a maths thing, right? So with one card to come, your outs, you can kind of multiply by 2. It's close, not perfect, but like good enough. Multiply by 2, let's see how you add. So here, for example, if we know Slayer at a 10, we'd say, well, our ace, we got 3 outs and we'd have about 6-7%. On the flop, you multiply by 2, but of course you have 2 cards to come. So that's why it's like multiplying by 4. Why that is because it's simply like, in this case, if we're on the turn and we have an ace, there's 6 cards shown. So we know there's 46 cards left. And then it's just a question of 43 divided by 46. Is that right? Which is about 6%, 7%. We'll jam. Classic. Gregor says, when I was a teenager, I used to go pretty wild with crappy cars on crappy roads when it was snowing. Dumb in hindsight, but it was a different time. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Our risk to reward, when our frontal lobes are fully developed, we have a pretty poor sense. I'll give you an example. I saw 2 young lads on holiday cliff jumping into the Ardèche River. Now, I don't know if they knew it was safe or not. One of them did a backflip from about, honestly, 15 meters, 20 meters. And I was like, fuck, you know, like, this just had to climb free solo to a place to jump off. And I was like, pff. And the entire beach, like, because it was a river beach place, burst into applause. Everyone just stood and applauded this kid. And I was like, I'm not sure the risk to reward was there. But that's because I'm an old poker player now. And I'm like, well, the EV of that move, you know, it's probably not the best. Let's call the Queen 10. Can we hit against King 6? Can we hit a 4 for a chop? Nope. I also do remember drifting my little Nissan Micra when I was at 19 round a corner when it was snowing. Just putting the handbrake, just to get the back end out, you know. At about 8 miles an hour.